think it was 91 years ago today something happened, and it was pretty monumental. As a matter of fact, when we write a farm bill today, we actually have an entire section dedicated to this event that happened 91 years ago. Any idea what it is? We'll tell you coming up in a moment. Got canola in the background. Let's start with the canola market. It's moving higher for the second straight session. Now, this is a market that's up roughly 8 to 10% year over year. Let's roll through the oats as well. Oats were higher yesterday, so two-day move here. And rice has been lower the last 4 sessions. We're higher right now, just marginal gains right now in the rice market. There's a method to my madness here. Let's roll through cotton futures, which went up, nearly hit 78 cents on the December, pulled back to 77.07. It's down 74. Let's go to wheat now, and we'll look at spring wheat. Those contracts are moving higher. And then hard red, up 11 1/4, 627 3/4 on the July. We have Chicago wheat up 4, 595 1/4. How about beans? Well, beans, new crop November up 1 3/4, 1151 1/2, and then over to the corn market where December trades penny and a half higher, 472 1/2. Chris Swift's with Swift Trading. He's in studio with us. And Chris, I'm looking at corn. We had flash sales, and it's on sale.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the cheaper commodities that we have on the board. And, we're talking off camera just a few minutes ago about, the relationship of how high some of these commodities are. And we don't quite see that yet in corn and wheat. And then we started talking about the drought. And, lo and behold, here we look at that drought monitor and go, there are some places in some really bad shape there. So we look at wheat and corn prices here, and we know that we want the farmer to have the higher price, and yet we think that that could be detrimental to our cattle feeders, and we're really unsure. So what do? When we're unsure? We buy options. We give ourselves the right, but not the obligation to enter into a futures contract. And I think that's going to be more crucial. We've already seen a literally 50-60% rise in the fuel markets. We have seen already the equities market still right here at the tip top. Gold and silver still very elevated. Crude oil right up at the top end of it. Even if having backed off a little bit today, we're still exceptionally high. And so that leaves a few of the markets just kind of being an outlier there. Corn and wheat seems to be those ones.
You mentioned energy prices moving higher, and I kind of teased this earlier. 91 years ago today, something happened. Well, 91 years ago, they were also heating places with wheat. They were burning wheat to stay warm. We had quite a bit of wheat back in 1935. What else did we have? Well, hang around and find out. It's coming up around the corner. We've got Chris Swift with us. Livestock futures next on Market Day Report. This market's been lower 5 straight sessions. Will it be 6? Talking hogs right now. Lean hog market down 7 on the April contract. Dime lower now at 90.40. We're at 102.60 on the June. That's down 52.65 lower on the July. 105.42. This just continues to slide lower as we start heading into grilling season. On the other side, though, look at the rally in the feeder market. Now we're off the highs of the session. Look at May. It's been as high as 377.57. We pulled back to 374.87 a hundredweight. That's up 205. And then over to live cattle, chasing the cash trade this week. And packers have a lot of cattle to buy this week. 252.12 on the April, $1.40 higher. 172 higher on June, 250 1/4. In studio, Chris Swift, Swift Trading. Chris, man, that rally continues.
If not historical high, so close to it you can get there. if I'm not bad mistaken, only the feeder cattle index is just a few cents behind what would be a new historical high. So we're really putting rationing. I know you and I sat here about this time last year and talked about rationing, how much that we're going to have to do. And now, unfortunately, we're going to another level. And those higher prices will unfortunately keep more people out of the industry. But something has to be done. We're going to have a more difficult time pushing this price down the line to the consumer. We know the packer will absolutely be upside down when we have to pay cash, whatever it may be this week, in comparison to what boxes. Choice and Select still swapped right now. So we've got a situation on hand that I'm not real sure, but anything but time will help do it. And I don't know whether that's 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months. And I don't think anybody does. And outside market influences there where we still have relatively cheap corn that could change overnight, where we start to see more expensive corn. The fuel price, it may go up another $1 or $2. It may plummet. And the bad thing about plummeting prices is a lot of times all of those inputs are purchased at the tip top, and when prices go down, we sell them out the retail side at a significantly lower. So we have to be real careful about, wanting prices to be lower, because sometimes that's not as good as prices being a little bit higher.
Okay, let's talk retail. You mentioned Select is above Choice right now as far as value, even though it's a lesser cut.
Right, absolutely.
It's not as good of an experience as the Choice. But does that give opportunities at retail for consumers?
Probably not. No, not really. I don't think that you'll see that big of a price difference between the two. The only thing that I've really noticed last week that caught me by surprise was a major grocery store featuring a whole ribeye for $8.99 a pound. Hamburger meat right beside it was $5.89 a pound. So it's kind of interesting to see, because I can do so much more with that pound of hamburger meat than I can that whole rib roast, even though the rib roast may be a better flavor or taste than what the hamburger meat is. It's a real price conscientious deal to have to overcome.
I still think I take the rib every time. Every time. There you go. It's Chris Swift's.
Listen, I think it comes down to how many people are you feeding, right?
Oh,
I mean, when you talk about that ground meat, I mean, that's going to last a while. You can actually make it, and and I'm surprised you would take that choice, by the way. Talking to a guy who loves his tacos and burritos, that ground meat is going to go a long way.
You can do it with the ribeye, too.
I'm sure you'll make that happen. Thank you, guys.